There's one shift, one sentence, that instantly changes how people treat you. You go from being overlooked to being respected, from drained to in control. And most people never hear it. You probably think people-pleasing means you're just too nice, that you care too much, love too much, give too much. But here's the truth no one tells you. People-pleasing isn't kindness. It's control. It's trying to manage how others see you. So you'll never have to feel rejected, abandoned, or unloved. You shapeshift to stay safe. You agree to stay accepted. You avoid conflict, not because you're peaceful, but because you're scared to find out who still sticks around if you finally speak your truth. And I know that sounds harsh, but you don't break this pattern by calling it sweet. You break it by calling it what it is. Because underneath the smiling and nodding, there's a quiet panic. If I disappoint them, I'll lose them. If I take up space, I'll be too much. If I say no, they'll leave. And here's the craziest part. Even when you win at this game, when people like you still feel invisible. Because deep down, you know they don't like you. They like the version of you you've been editing, just to keep them close. But there's something even more dangerous about this habit. Something almost nobody realizes. And in a few minutes, I'll show you why people-pleasing actually repels the very love, respect, and connection you're trying to earn. Once you see that, it'll hit different. But first, you need to learn how to flip the script entirely. And it starts with one sentence that instantly changes the power dynamic in every room you walk into. You've been trying to win roles in other people's movies. That's the real issue. You walk into a room thinking, how can I make them like me? What should I say so they'll accept me? What version of me fits best here? That's actor energy. That's audition energy. And you weren't born to beg for a part. You were born to cast your own damn film. Here's the shift. And I need you to really hear this. You are the star of your movie. Not the side character, not the comic relief, not the emotional support. You are the lead. The script is yours. And everyone you meet, they're auditioning for a role in your story. That one switch changes everything. Because now, instead of asking, how do I get their approval? You start asking, do they even meet my standards? Try this next time you meet someone, just for practice. Instead of leaning in, pull back. Instead of over-explaining, observe. Think to yourself, do I actually enjoy this person's energy? Do I even want them in my life? Or am I just afraid to be alone? That's the power shift. Because when you hold your own frame, people feel it. You're no longer chasing, you're choosing. And here's the wild thing. The moment you stop trying to be impressive is the moment people start paying attention. Because self-respect is louder than overexertion. And presence beats performance every time. But don't get it twisted. This mindset doesn't just make you more confident. It makes you more selective. And that's where the real magic happens. Because when you stop auditioning for everyone else, you start filtering out people who were never meant to walk with you. And in the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how that works. How people pleasers accidentally attract the wrong relationships. And why being a little more selfish is the key to finding your real tribe. Here's what nobody tells you about people-pleasing. It doesn't just wear you out. It attracts the exact people who are happy to keep you small, the ones who love how agreeable you are, who love that you don't push back, who call you easygoing, but really just mean easy to manipulate, because when your default is yes, you stop filtering, you stop choosing, you accept anyone into your life just for the relief of being accepted. But here's the cost. You end up surrounded by people who don't respect you. They like you, they use you, but they don't admire you, and they definitely don't challenge you to rise. You'll have 20 friends, and still feel alone, because deep down, you know none of them really see you. They only see the version of you that's been trying so hard to be liked. And the truth is, you're not even sure who you'd be if you stop trying to please them. But what happens when you stop? What happens when you actually start saying no? When you start setting boundaries? When you stop trying to be the peacekeeper and start being honest? Most people think it means you'll lose everyone. But that's not the full story. Because in a minute, I'm going to show you why saying no doesn't push the right people away. It pulls them in. And later, we'll break down the 3 types of people you absolutely need to cut off if you want to level up your confidence and protect your energy. You've been trying to fit into everyone's life. It's time to ask who actually fits into yours. Most people pleasers avoid saying no because they think it'll make people leave. They think setting a boundary means losing connection. But here's the paradox. The moment you stop bending over backwards is the moment people start leaning in. Because real ones, they're not threatened by your boundaries. They're attracted to them. You say no and they respect it. You say, not today, and they don't guilt you. You speak your mind and they listen. Because here's the truth. People who only like you when you're easy aren't built for your growth. They were only there for your silence. But when you start saying no, you send a different signal. You say, I value my time. I know what I want. I'm not afraid to lose someone who isn't aligned. And that signal, it attracts people who are secure, grounded, emotionally mature. The ones who don't want to control you. They want to build with you. It's not about being difficult. It's about being real. And yeah, some people will leave. Good. That's not a loss. That's clarity. That's emotional spring cleaning. But what happens next? That's what surprises people. Because once you get used to honoring yourself, you start to realize how rare that is. You become the calm in the storm, the one who doesn't flinch, the one people gravitate toward when everything else feels fake. And soon, you'll notice something powerful. Saying no stops being scary and starts feeling like home. But there's a trap here too, a sneaky one, because the moment you start standing up for yourself, some people will test you. They'll push, guilt trip, manipulate. And that's why, in the next section, we're going to talk about the 3 types of people who absolutely cannot stay in your life. If you're serious about changing for good, when you stop people-pleasing, some people won't take it well, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing something right. And there are 3 types of people who won't survive your growth. Type 1, the subtle manipulator. They don't scream or slam doors. They sigh. They guilt trip. They play the "after all I've done for you" card. They frame your boundaries as betrayal, because your compliance was their comfort. But listen to me. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your life, especially not the ones who only show up when you're useful. Type 2, the energy leech. These people don't mean to be toxic, but they drain you anyway. They always need something, always cool with drama, always leave you feeling tired, off-center, less. You think you're helping, but really, they've built a home inside your guilt, and it's costing you your peace. Type 3, the conditional supporter. These are the ones who liked you best when you were small. As long as you were agreeable, available, self-sacrificing, they were right there clapping. But start saying no, start choosing yourself, watch how fast that support disappears, because their loyalty was never to you. It was to the version of you that didn't challenge their comfort. Cutting these people off isn't mean, it's maintenance. It's protecting the future you're building, because if you don't draw the line, you'll carry dead weight into every room you walk into, and the world will never take you seriously until you do. But here's the good part. Once you clear that space, the right people finally have room to show up. The ones who love the real you, not the filtered, pleasing version, but the honest, grounded, powerful one. And in a minute, I'm going to give you the exact sentence to say when someone crosses a line, so you don't fold and you don't fight. You just hold your frame and walk away stronger. Most people pleasers crumble when challenged, not because they're weak, but because they're overthinking. They try to explain, justify, soften the blow. They want to say no, but make sure no one's feelings get hurt. So they talk too much and fold halfway through. But here's the secret. Confidence isn't loud, it's clear. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is one simple sentence. That doesn't work for me. That's it. No apology, no explanation, no room for debate. Hey, can you drop everything and help me move this weekend? That doesn't work for me. Why didn't you answer my text last night? That doesn't work for me. Come on, just this once. That doesn't work for me. Say it calmly. Say it once. And say it like someone who doesn't need to be understood to be at peace. Because the moment you stop explaining your boundaries, you start owning them. You stop negotiating with people who never respected your time in the first place. And that silence, that lack of apology, sends a message louder than any speech ever could. But here's where most people fall off. They try to use this sentence, but still carry the old identity. The identity of someone who needs to be liked. Someone who feels guilty for taking up space. someone who still thinks worthiness has to be earned. So in the final section, I'm going to show you how to drop that identity completely and step into a version of you that doesn't just act confident, but actually feels it. Because if you don't shift who you believe you are, you'll always slide back into who you were. You've learned how to set boundaries, how to stop chasing approval, how to stop shrinking just to keep other people comfortable. But none of that sticks unless you shift the story you're telling yourself about who you are. Because if deep down you still see yourself as the nice one, the helper, the one who keeps the peace, you'll keep defaulting to people-pleasing, no matter how many strategies you know. So let's end it here. You are no longer the side character. You are no longer the safe bet. You are no longer the person who gets walked over because they don't want to rock the boat. From now on, you're the one who chooses. You're the one who filters. You're the one who knows their energy is valuable and doesn't give it away just to feel needed. This isn't about being rude. It's about being true. True to your time, true to your peace, true to your purpose. So next time someone tries to guilt you, next time your old wiring kicks in and you feel that itch to say yes just to keep the peace, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what would the real me do here? Not the people-pleaser version, not the scared, small, overthinking version, but the real you, the one who knows they're allowed to take up space, allowed to have limits, allowed to say no, without explaining a damn thing. Because confidence isn't about volume, it's about alignment. And once you start living in alignment with the person you were always meant to be, the people who belong in your life, they'll feel it. And the ones who don't, they'll finally leave, which is exactly the point.